Welcome back to the Wizard's office, and today we're going to talk about 6 things you should never say to your mechanic when you drop off your vehicle or various other things, and some of the things you probably should do or should say. Let's get started. Whoa, what happened, Mrs. Wizard, to our old intro?
Oh, I made you a new one. Do you like it?
Well, I guess it is because we now have a YouTube channel for 5 years.
That's impressive. It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
It doesn't. It feels like a couple, maybe, not 5.
A lot's changed in those 5 years.
Yes, there's a lot changed in the 5 years. Like this.
Yeah, you used to have hair. Guys, go back and look at the first videos. He had hair back then.
I used to have hair, yes. But today we're going to talk about some things I've been experiencing with customer drop-offs and things that have complicated things. And these are some tips that would really help you relieve stress when you drop off the car, the process of getting your car fixed, and also picking up your car, which saves you a lot of time, a lot of stress, and it can also save you some money. These can be applied to other shops, not just here, but many other shops really around the world. The first thing we're going to talk about is to schedule your car when you're not busy. Unless it's an emergency, if something like, I gotta have my car, that's understandable. Wait till you have a vacation coming up, or you're going to be out of town on a business meeting. That's the perfect time to drop it off and get it done so that the mechanic has plenty of time to really dive in and figure out what's wrong, and you're not stressed about getting your car back in a short amount of time. So that's definitely something that helps. And we have a lot of customers that do that like, hey, I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks. I thought this is a good time to bring my car. And yes, it's a great time. How well do you guys perform under stress? That definitely helps the situation for the mechanic and the customer when there's not so much of a time crunch. Before we move on to number 2, I want to show you guys something out in the shop. Well, have you guys ever wanted a piece of the Wizard shop, or at least some of the parts and pieces of transmissions or things that have been in the shop? Mrs. Wizard's actually using some of her free time now that she's kind of retired from teaching. She's been doing some artwork with car parts.
Yeah, this is mostly pieces and parts from that ES300 that we had. Remember the one that I found dead and then we ended up giving it to one of my former students? This is a lot of those pieces and parts. Got earrings, got some fun lamps. I was just having some fun. I didn't have enough creative output, just making videos are a little too linear. I wanted something a little bit more fun, and so I've been working on this. If you want to see more in detail what there is, check in the description. You'll find a link to the video. I'm going to make a video fully just devoted to what these are and up close what they look like, and the link info on if you'd actually like to buy one. I thought it'd be nice for you guys to have a piece of the Wizard shop.
These are really cool, guys. These are really deep. So if you get any of these things, to know that they came from an ES300 in the Wizard shop. So back to the front office. That was really cool. Make sure if you want one of those pieces of the Wizard shop, check in the link in the description. Everything's there for you to go check those out. Number 2 is you're probably not going to have same-day service with your repairs. It's a common conception or a misconception that I drop off my car in the morning and at the end of the day I'm calling, where is my car done? And it doesn't work that way because a lot of times parts won't even be there that very day. Most parts stores, especially in smaller towns, are not going to stock the parts. They don't have every part for every vehicle, so it's going to take some time to get the parts. Also, diagnosis can go longer than expected, and then you got to actually do the repair. Unlike a Jiffy Lube or a Firestone or something like that, they really specialize in minor repairs or certain repairs, and they have everything in stock to just kind of jump in and get it done. When you're talking about getting more into minor and then into moderate repairs, especially on European vehicles or specialized vehicles, specialty vehicles, it's going to be quite a wait, so keep that in mind. Also, make sure you plan when you drop off your vehicle that you have everything set up correctly to a ride home. Whether it be a friend picking you up, whatever, or Uber. We've found that in smaller towns with Uber, they may not come get you. Even though it says on their website, we go to this town, we go to that town. It's really up to the drivers if they choose to go pick you up. And we've actually had customers in the shop for 5 and 6 hours because no one from Uber will come. So make sure you have that figured out, or call them and say, is there going to be a driver pick me up, or a friend or family or however. Make sure you get that taken care of. Number 3 is late arrivals. So unlike some places like doctor's office and things where they have a certain time, 2 o'clock is your appointment or 11 o'clock is your appointment, repair shops are by the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's not necessarily a time, but really you should get it there early in the morning, because if you're scheduled, say, for a Thursday, you don't want to show up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because now the whole day is gone. A lot of the mechanics are putting their tools away and they're thinking about going home. They would have been looking at your car if it would have been there a lot earlier. So if you're scheduled for a day to get it done, the shop's expecting that day to be working on your car, not waiting on your car. Try to get there in the morning if you can. It'll save a lot of time and a lot of headache. And also just keep in mind that if you do show up later in the afternoon, it's the only way or the only time that works for you, go ahead and add that extra day to the time it's going to take to get repairs, because unfortunately that day was lost. Another thing that's really a time saver is try to schedule your car on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because if you schedule a Thursday or a Friday, you bring the car, they get it diagnosed, they get the parts ordered, your car very likely is going to sit over the weekend before the parts even arrive to even fix your car. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And contrary to what some people think or other types of industries, we don't have a first shift, second shift, third shift. We don't have work going on 24/7. 5 o'clock rolls around, this place is closed, no work is being done. So that's kind of how mechanic shops work. They're not working 24 hours a day. Number 4 is be available, your phone, text, email, however, so that the shop can actually get a hold of you. We actually had a crazy story. It's kind of funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but now that we look back at it, it was kind of funny. A customer dropped off a vehicle and then they went out of country. And we called them a couple times a day for like a week. They're like, what do we do here? What's going on? We need to move forward with the car. We can't. And then the customer got back from the trip and actually called Crazy D up and was yelling at Crazy D. Why did you call me so many times? We're trying to get a hold of you on your car. Sorry. I mean, we'd like to know what to do with your car. So now that we think about it, it kind of makes us smile. It's like, that was crazy. But make sure you're around to answer those phone calls, emails, or texts, because if it takes 3 days to get a hold of you, those are 3 days your car is not being worked on. Another reason to stay by your phone is you want to have the ability to approve or decline the repairs. We're going to have a list, an estimate for you, and we'll go through the list. We're going to want an approval from you, the customer, before we dive in and start ordering parts. And we've actually had customers say, hey, you know, just go ahead and fix it. Don't even call me. But we still call them anyways, because we've had instances where we've been told to go ahead and fix it, but we call with an estimate and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was thinking $1,000 and you're talking $3,000. As well, we found some things that weren't even on your list that need to be repaired. Okay, just cancel it. I'll come pick up my car. Can you imagine what would have happened if we didn't call ahead of time and say, hey, this is what we found, and we just did the work as instructed? Be a very upset customer. We try to keep that to a minimum. We don't like upset customers. We want it to be peaceful for you, peaceful for us, and any shop really strives to do that. The next one is who's paying for the repair and how are you paying for the repair? Unfortunately, most mechanic shops are not finance institutions. We are not banks. We are not payday loans. We don't do that here. And just like in the link in the description below, there's a Mazda Millennia. You guys remember the Millennia, where you say, hey, your car's done. We met the estimate. Everything's good. Everything went well. And then the next thing the customer says or asks is, well, do you take payments? No. We're here to repair your car, not to finance the repairs. And just like most shops, we accept credit cards. If you got a credit card, we'll be happy to take that. Maybe you go to the bank and get a loan. The bank is the one that should be doing the loan, not the mechanic shop. One thing, if you're going to have a separate person pay for the repairs, you've got a friend or a family member going to help you out and pay for your repairs, have that arranged up front with the shop. Say, as soon as it's done, call this number, they'll pay for it, and then let me know, I'll come pick up my car. We're totally cool with that. A lot of times we get college kids where they need the repair done, the parents are paying for it, and totally understand that. Also, there was just a maxima in the shop where The sister sold the car to their sister and found out the AC wasn't working. The seller, sister, said, hey, I'll cover the AC, just take it to the shop. They arranged, had everything set up so when it was done, we could pay it. Everything went very well. And don't be offended if the shop asks for a partial payment up front. That helps the shop know that you're serious about the repairs. It also helps cover parts and labor and things, especially if the car is going to be in the shop for quite a while. Never pay for the whole job up front, because there are some unscrupulous shops out there that will take your money and they don't do anything to your car.
You mean like the Wonder Lodge that you bought?
Yes, just like the Wonder Lodge. The story on that was that the previous owner paid for a lot of repairs up front, and that shop took their money and just disappeared. And nothing was done, and parts were lost. It's a bad deal. Never pay for the whole job up front. You don't know what the whole job's going to be until the job's done, so there's no way to know what that's going to be. And the last one is make sure you plan your pickup. There's been many instances where we get the vehicle done, say, hey, we're ready to go, your car's ready for pickup, and then we get told, all right, I'll be there in 3 weeks to pick up my vehicle. Unfortunately, most shops are not storage facilities, and in fact, most shops don't have the ability to store cars inside like we do. They're going to put your car outside, and if it's in a shady community where maybe there's some issues going on in the area that the shop's located, you really don't want your car sitting out for 3 weeks unattended, well, not being fully watched all the time. So make sure you keep that in mind, especially if you go on vacation or something like that. You say, hey, I'm going to be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. Let us know. We know up front what we're getting into, and we can schedule and plan accordingly around that. And if you're going to ship your car here using a freight company, that is the responsibility of the customer. Make sure you have all that planned and paid for ahead of time. That way we can focus on fixing your car and not focus on shipping dilemmas. We're not a freight company. We're here to fix your car. We're happy to accept your car on a freight truck, but that will be your responsibility. Make sure you have that all figured out ahead of time. We've actually had a few show up where the payment hasn't been made or something's going on with the payment. They won't release the car to us, and it can be hours trying to call the customer, figure this all out. It really saves a lot of time if that's solved ahead of time. So that's just a tip for you there as well. So hopefully those things will help you guys out. You're getting ready to take your car to a shop and you're like, I don't know how this all works. Is there any tips or anything out there that can help me to understand how things roll? Also some tips to help it go faster. Instead of taking 2 weeks, it could be done in a week or less. If you follow some of these tips and tricks, it can save a lot of time, a lot less stress on the shop, which means less stress for you. And everyone's much happier with an end result all the way around. Make sure to check the description below for the art sales that Mrs. Wizard has going on. A lot of really cool stuff there. Also down there is a link to her channel, Mrs. Wizard's Ways. She's got a lot of really cool content going on there. And make sure to hit the subscribe button here for Car Wizard, because we got many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.